전에 뭐 니지기야. 에 레이징들은 이제 대파. 뭐하다 엔디기가 아주 뭐 정말다라 되게 아주 예 그룹이다 이렇게 찾아오래. 다 사이기라 무슨 소지 연된 더 보내 대파. 아니 고람기디 비체라. 아니 아기 대파 아게 연된 더 보내 대파 줘이나 아 년대기리 되래서 또 수치는 차고 년대기리 되래서 근데 다 들리지다 삼상 삼그래 개발도 랑고 보신 분들이 뒤순간에 왜 대표들에 나와 랑고 보내는 데 정말 정말 위기 차서와 아니 이제는 배 무슨 소리인데 된다 되게 제 아니 뒤 대파 뭐 봤다 다 뒤순간에 와서는 둘러서는 질sem진 개발도 랑기 귤라 질sem제 상제기 귤라 장미시 장주기 생르듯이 마케를 귤이 저 공공도 해야 돼 말한다냐 개발도 랑기 귤라 장주기 생르듯이 마케를 귤 요 공공도 해와 더 규지 님을 말은 잡고 다들 이거가 균도 경험을 송도 준준이 뭐서대 사실은 말 장동 이 먼저 지적을 한다. 동대셔 초와 약속 이 다셔도 되지. 어제 이거라 전주가 내에 조금이라도 사람 살아서 땡기고네. 장동 기가 수술에는 아니 대양 조가 계단은 난 뒤쪽에 당기면은 아니 상기 추선을 되네. 니는 손체를 천능서도 양양도 이 누가한테 보래 아니 저렇게 지금마다 야 말이 계속니까 해야 중대 아니 중대 하지 남바 상기 주기 참지 순대는 지레서 정말 수고와 나를 뻔히 연결 미치기 정관물이 준비체에서 숨기다가 가지 못그 전혀 가라고 했으니까 정말 뻔히 연결 미대 상기 취소면 누군지 떠나치서 유소스 정말 투니에서 숨고 투니네 저는 푸드 좋아 시민지리샤 트럼페 디리젠 어제 그바이는 많은 제시 중앙한다라서 중앙하다 대시견나 망고 야야데 상기 취소만 하신지 딱에 중코도 인데게 세부 인데게 좀 공부를 했어 숨고 인데가 염주 상기 취소는 거는 야미야도 생긴 랭베이나 텔레파니네 소수 디지털이가 아니 마케를 들이 해야 돼 된대 해야지 소수는 그게 되는 마케 뭐는 짱박이 사주용에 가버려 이거라 그래서 쉽게 쳐버려 소 랍침도 뭐는데 가루 유로 짜고 세야다 와다데 오늘 수수냐면 잘니다 또 신이 조가 되는 뒤쳐봐 유교대 돈도 주주대 오늘 다다디 상기 저도 문내야 돼 공원만 통하게 있는 라미 진입 기긴 유예 말이도 와 아니 준주대 유예 어떻게 인가라 유는 비다 버려 아니 제주 가상도시 참석을 우주도려 물질에 제주 넘버 2개 사회라 말이도 와 시장을 되는 거지 제가 공기 때 진짜 민주주의 소소와 상기 취소 있는 문제보다 아니 맞을 때 대상 뒤에 통통인데가 텔레gram 이 세계 보면야지 용 차상 좀 과차상 준대긴 진짜 어떻게 되게 다 무엇이니 염제 신고할 뭐는 미안해도 그런 때문에 우리가 이기는 말은 뭐는 되나 펜다지지나요 말이다.
The power of prayer, number 4, it's on page 85, last paragraph. We should make a great prayers that by the force of mundane and transcendental merit in general, and especially our own merit created by body, speech, and mind throughout the three times, all sentient beings in general and ourselves in particular may generate the awakening mind that they have not generated, and that it may abide and thrive in those who have. We see kind of making our prayers by the force of mundane and transcendental merit. The mundane merit, the merit that is related with while still in the cyclic existence or samsaric positive merits that we can create, and then mention another one, transcendental merit, kind of merit that is created or sort of geared towards liberations, especially our own merit created by body, speech, and mind throughout the three times. Body, speech, and mind, merit, creating a merit, as physically, like prostrations, verbally reciting, chanting mantras, and mentally kind of generating, such as altruistic mind here. And in terms of duration, it says all three times, throughout the three times, and aiming at all sentient beings, and generating this altruistic mind for those who have not generated, and those who have already generated, kind of further flourishing or abiding or thriving. And here, not only kind of just prayer, but this prayer with the sort of guided or based upon, again, this altruistic mind, and to just have a kind of this ceremony of generating altruistic mind. One of the most convenient and complete ceremony of generating altruistic mind within yourself is, as His Holiness says, that is mentioned in the Shantideva's text Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. It's a ceremonial kind of a recitation that you can do and invoke your own altruistic mind without having, or kind of having in presence of teachers. And that is convenient, and more convenient would be refuge prayer, just one verse. But reciting that, you can also kind of sort of invoke your own altruistic mind, or generate, or without again needing spiritual teachers. And the refuge prayer is very short, yet it is the essence of Indiana Buddhist teaching, and very. Especially refuge prayer, using this to invoke altruistic mind within yourself, and then later kind of generating this kind of power that we see here, could be immensely powerful. And refuge prayer, which comes from this great master, Gyabje Khangsang Dorje Chang. He was teacher of both His Holiness two teachers, Trijang Rinpoche and Nyingren Rinpoche, and he also has kind of what we call the head crown as a symbol of realized or great practitioner. And so both the ceremonial practice in Shantideva's text as well as refuge, one verse is considered as a very blessed or with the great lineages a practice that we can use. And His Holiness one time mentioned about there was a visitor from Tibetan, and he asked His Holiness to kind of what we call create a special spiritual connection or bond, and for that they asked kind of brief transmission teachings, and that individual asked just give scriptural transmission of refuge prayer. And His Holiness was really kind of glad to hear that, and because usually, when Tibetan asks for quick kind of transmission, they ask for high Vajrayana mantras or tantras, and but this individual asked just a refuge prayer, and His Holiness kind of happily responded that he is in fact somebody who has a great knowledge about Buddhism and his practice, because refuge prayer is really kind of in itself, it's sort of summary, or it consists of entire Buddhist meaning in this one short verse.
samudana rachaye yung인지를 rem아서 samudana 지 생기 견디 녀몽생인데 생기 차시인데 소리지 생기 인딩이 소리지 가시 때 맞으면 미리 소리지 망쳤을 때 참도 이 가르쳐야 세미나니 생기 연된 강인 생기 견 강인 이 뭐다 마시겠다 어디도 시네 즉 생기 연된 견도 하나 너니 견된 장애예요 것이 견된 장애예요가 돼 반대 나를 껴왕 나만이 본법 투중 관계 즉 까사지 있나요 꼭 빨리 건나는 배 라룬로예요 즉 말하면서 용해 주게요 뭐다 도스치네 이스고야 도스치나 사소리 자 뭐라면 기도 없으니 자 뭔가 건데 없으니 어다 도스치네 수도 또 앞에 맹아니 체가에 맹아다 잖아 개받침에 당하니 또 뭔가 인진 저렴지 서다 대신 체가가 거기 로션 던짐이 맹아다 잖아 세수가 아니 개받 가서
데르죠 똥에 맹아디니
맹아디 체가에 맹아다
치가 마시 치게 맹아다 잖아 치게 맹아다 잖아 택진 포베 담가니 도마니
바디 치갈라갈 상당해 이렇게 시시고 치갈라갈 치게 맹아다 잖아 개받침 어떤 리버잖아
The fifth one is power of acquaintance or familiarity. We should familiarize ourselves at all times and in all circumstances solely with the actual meditations as they were explained above. So fifth one is the power of acquaintance or familiarity. So what is needed is whatever that we mentioned before, is familiarizing ourselves. It says all times, in every circumstances, and doing it again and again and again. And there's a quote here from again Shantideva's text, A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. The childish work for their own benefit, the Buddhas work for the welfare of others. Just look at the difference between them. So this is this quote is actually there are in Shantideva's text there's 4 sentences, and one sentence that comes before this is it's like what else is there more to say? Then Shantideva says, just look at the differences between childish and Buddhas. The childish work for their own benefit, Buddhists work for the welfare of others, and just look at the difference between them. What else is there more to say? Simply from looking at the differences, you will see childish being still kind of in the samsara and suffering again and again, while Buddha on the other hand engaging or doing welfare of others are liberated and free from cyclic existence. And childish here, the meaning this word we find, as his owner says, kind of 3 different understanding. One, childish is very kind of ordinary meaning in related with the kind of age. We usually is very common understanding, like 18 and below is considered as a child, and then 18 and above adult, and then another is based on a thought. In Buddhist understanding, the one who is purely kind of engaged and doing something that is really kind of within the cyclic existence. Those are considered as childish, very self-oriented, always doing something that is within cyclic existence, and engage in the action or causes that makes them to take rebirth again in cyclic existence. And the opposite of this childish is noble beings or bodhisattvas, those who are totally kind of dedicated towards benefiting other sentient beings, those who are engaged in the action that leads to liberation, and eventually kind of attaining enlightenment. The third sense of childish also we find understanding, those who haven't achieved the understanding of emptiness, and with emptiness again they become a noble being, but haven't achieved or haven't had yet understanding of emptiness. So childish here, again, as we see the meaning is based on a thought or the mental. Somebody who is self-oriented, egoistic, self-cherishing, always kind of for one's own sake. That's the childish here. The childish work for their own benefit, and the Buddhas work for the welfare of others. Just look at the differences between them. If we familiarize ourselves with this practice and maintain the conditions for doing so, we will gain perfection, as the saying goes. Again, another quote from Shantideva's text. There is nothing that does not become easier with acquaintance. If we familiarize ourselves with this practice and maintain the conditions for doing so, if we familiarize, and the point is, at this moment we are not familiarized. We are, if we say, we are totally under the power of or under the influence of this, self-cherishing thought or ego mind or self-grasping thought, and it might seem sometimes kind of impossible to free from this kind of, domination or this kind of influence, but however that kind of freedom can attain through this power of acquaintance. We need to make our mind acquainted, familiar with the thought of altruistic mind, and the reason is this quote from Shantideva: "There's nothing that does not become easier with acquaintance." If you get engage again and again, do it over and over, and if it becomes really familiar, then we can reach to the stage where it doesn't require any effort. It comes so spontaneously, so naturally. And the great Chekawa said, Geshe Chekawa, this mind that is full of faults has one great quality, that it does whatever it is taught. And this is one of the, a greatest quality of our mind. One of the greatest qualities says, this Geshe Chekawa. Although it is full of, faults and fallacies, and but the one great quality is that it is trainable. If you teach something, the mind can learn. The another way of saying is that the very nature of the mind, all afflictions and delusions, and those are all temporary. The way they exist with our mind is in such a way that they are separable. So through familiarity, through working, through kind of putting some effort, it is always possible to separate our mind from temporary kind of afflictions or disturbing emotions. So, which is kind of again, if we apply it, implement it, it is a very valid statement, something very real. Otherwise, we do find, nowadays that even in belief systems, people way of thinking, sometimes we see that, we see disturbing emotions as sometimes we consider them as something inevitable, something that is needed for our survival, as if they are kind of something supporting us, which is not the case in Buddhist understanding. What is important here is sort of look at our emotion or thought or mind and understand and analyze what are the positive, constructive, good part, and what are the negative, destructive, bad part, and then kind of try to promote the good part of the mind or good thought, and reduce and train and eliminate the negative emotions and destructive emotions. So, and we can do that, and one way of doing that is through the power of acquaintance, power of familiarity. We need to make our mind more familiar with the positive side, and so that comes from familiarity.
샤바체는 따기와 되게 인데를 썼고 어다 나신지 제가 성들다 약간 잡아도 샘 견데 집에 루브르 견데 집에 샘데가 연대 첨부지가 첨부지데 가르데 랑 25나 20기를 기고와 장주기 샘과는 장주기 샘기를 기고와 동이 공나 동기기를 기고와 내롱 소디야 장배 연대 되게 중요한데 동안에 니가도 와 이수선으로 근데 이분한 데서 가가지고
So this is actually what Chekhov mentioned here is the same as what we have been saying before, that in the traditions of Lamrim, or stages of path masters, they're saying that there's only one thing that is good about negative negative act, or sinful act, or non-virtuous act, and that is they can be purified, and that's the only qualification. Otherwise, remaining are all something negative and bad. So the only good thing is that about negative action or non-virtuous or sinful action is that they can be purified, and the negative action is the result of negative mind or negative thought, and therefore this which is the result of negative thought, and the only good part is that can be purified. And so from the positive side, what it means is, if we engage in the practice of compassion can be generated. If we engage in the practice of loving kindness can be generated, and likewise understanding of emptiness. So all of the positive qualities of mind, the way they exist naturally is that they exist in such a way that they are something that can be arises or generated in our mind. And so because said we will
내 차인사 루브루아스 무슨 좀버지 톱되게려나 걔를 루브루에 톱되게려나 루브루아를 넣어 누가 톱되게려 소세 루브루를 소세 내가 그 답답이 루브르데 제루인사 년부터 둘라 제루인사 그 루브루아를 양 고아지 깨는 거 이 원행 아주 도시 상담되나 아니 즉 명무생이 나도 두두 그 기대야 돼. 젠다 체마 사고 아무리 쉬고 기대야 돼. 코 년부 때나 그 코로나 고양 답지 된지. 아니 배. 더 차지는 미도 보험지. 녹신이 상주지 땅나 코 갈에 매찬들이야. 배 수수 거기 도시아 수초 얘네게 미치 애니베 랑기 차유기 리리 미자만 제수 수주다 애니베 테라 애니베 미도 보고 니 로콘베르나 애니베 칼레가 대기 애니베 도시아 수초에 있는데 하 이거는 이제 칼레 애니베 즉 대기 마레는 로주종에 콜라 테라 차바 수초에 있나 이 미도 보고는 겐제네 애는 거추 총으로야 또 수용 거야 그래서 어떻게 루프를 던데 어떻게 년부 때나 제로 인상 루프 와서
the when we talk about nature of the mind, the afflictions are temporary. Temporary in a sense that or when we have somebody visiting us or a guest, we temporary in a sense that they are not going to stay forever. It's just kind of for the time being. Same apply with the afflictions or delusion, afflicted or defilements, that exist sort of with our mind. They are temporary in a sense that if we apply an antidote, they won't stay forever. They can be eliminated. They can be separable, and only if we apply antidotes. So, for example, when somebody with more kind of tendency to have anger or hatred, applications of patience become antidotes, and therefore applying or relying or having a practice of patience can make that anger or hatred sort of temporary. and likewise somebody who is more kind of prominent in having attachment, can be apply understanding of or antidotes of impermanence, impurities, and with that kind of applications of antidotes, somebody with a strong attachment, after maybe very gradual process, 10-15 years, might not have the same level of attachment, after going through this kind of period of applications of antidotes. So here, when we talk about temporary, it means it really has a reference towards applications of antidotes, and applying antidotes, one can make that afflictions or delusions or afflictions go away. Another, the negative thought would be arrogance or haughtiness, and the antidote in the text we find contemplating on the different classifications of reality, because when you contemplate on different the classifications of different realities, the immensity of the classifications and different kind of knowledge out there just make you realize that you are not kind of the arrogance is there's nothing to be arrogant about. There are a lot of things out there that you are not aware of, and His Holiness used to say that when he has a feeling of sometimes arrogance or haughtiness, he just think about the knowledge of computers. When we look at the computing, the computer system, it is kind of made by human sort of, what we are getting out from there is something that we first, to begin with, we kind of inserted in there. And even with that, when we type in, it shows up whatever is that we inserted there so quickly, so, broad, so detailed. And just looking at that kind of makes you that, that knowledge that, is enough to make you that, there are still a lot of things to learn, that what you have is nothing to be, arrogant about. And so His Holiness used to say that it's like pouring a bucket of cold water over, hot water. It just immediately just cools you down. And again here, as we mentioned before, we need to think about when applying antidote, there are some antidote. These are antidote which is more kind of not direct antidote, but has a, power of kind of giving you sort of suppressing your all negative this thought, attachment, hatred, arrogance. But to eliminate from its root, there are antidotes which are kind of directly contradictory, such as understanding of emptiness. So there are different antidotes that can be applied, and some are kind of temporarily effect of reducing negative thought, and some antidotes just eliminate from its root. the panda and the Mali. Jazz or then the Share said about the Tenjuji, Jamba, Bowie, Chivra, Quando Sambo and the Andition, the dog, just on the lodging, Java, Damjera, Jason Shaping, Owa Chodo, Awa, then Dajin gave it our digging, just Sambo, Chinchera, in the land, the circle by snow abundance, the source of all happiness and benefit. Forcing a person, generously changing yours, managing some ends, just as the borders of a man wish to attain our missions, and some of the water to sooner to dedicate his man to train and follow in the footsteps. As all the virtuous Buddhas prosper and creature, praise dedication is again. So now I do dedicate this source of honor for all beings to perfect good action.